The task is clear.
Splendid. Ah, yes. We have one final matter to attend to. It should be rather enjoyable.
What?
Count, there you are. You received my instruction?
I did, though I did not have time to read the thing before I was dragged before your majesty. In truth, I was readying myself to depart.
No matter. I trust you will forgive your sovereign for the rather brusque summons, especially when you learn what prompted it. As you are aware, he has recently been appointed my Knight Commander of the Fifth Crusade. I spent a long while pondering whom to appoint to the highly sensitive post of Commander's Field Attaché and Advisor Plenipotentiary without portfolio. Congratulations, Count.
It is a great honor, I suppose.
Darren's cool expression wavers, but he seems not to be fully cognizant of what is happening. That, or he is holding himself tightly in check. What a wonderful gesture, Majesty. I imagine our dear Count would have been inconsolable if you hadn't given him this chance to serve the common cause.
I knew you would approve, Commander.
Yes. Darren! Darren! The Queen bestows a smile on you that brings her gaze to rest on Darren once more.
I had my doubts about whether you were ready for such a responsibility, Count, but your conduct in Kenobris has put my mind at ease. So, you will travel with the troops to Dresden. Only the commander may remove you from your post, but I trust that you will dutifully fulfill his orders and make a good showing of yourself. Especially since word of your appointment, Count, will reach the court at any moment. All of Mendev's nobility will be following your successes in service to the nation.
What a trap.
Including all of your devoted admirers. I even heard that one bard with whom you are particularly friendly has already begun composing a ballad to honor your heroic participation in the crusade and your faithful service to the commander here.
Your largesse truly knows no bounds, dear cousin. I am most gratified by the honor you have shown me.
The Count offers a bow, either as a sign of respect or in order to hide his flushed face. Only the barest quaver can be heard in his voice.
Then let's get going. May Iyomade help us.
Yeah! Whew! Oh, hello, Anevia. What are you doing in here? Anevia sweeps an inquisitive glance over you. So tell me straight, how'd that brawl of the Grey Garrison end? I heard the rumors, of course. That's kind of my job, you know, to listen. You've no idea what cobblers and crusaders say about you. Some even say, I was almost doing Sila's voice there for a second. Some say that Iyomade came to you and appointed you her herald. Others say that you died, and an honest-to-God's angel is now leading the army disguised as you. Still, others say it was just an explosion in an alchemist lab, and I'm the one spreading rumors about your powers. I wish. But you know, you really have changed since the Grey Garrison. It's hard to describe, but you've become kinda... Olivia waves her hand, trying to find the word. More charismatic? More dangerous. I have a gut instinct about these things. If I didn't, I'd already be dead. You're dangerous, Commander, and by Desna, I hope you'll be dangerous to our enemies, not to us. Or to yourself. Dangerous. I'm a dangerous boy. All right. Oh my god, what is happening? He just sells regular masterwork stuff, I guess. Okay. Crusader. I want to meet those new people. Ah, there's Solso over here. Oh, he's a painter.
Hello again. I'm very pleased to meet you.
Hello again. I'm very pleased to meet you. Thank you for taking the time to talk to me. So, this is kind of his voice. I gotcha. The young cleric stands before an easel, his brush hovering over the canvas without touching it. Instead of painting, the young man absent-mindedly gazes at the sky of Canabras, which is still streaked with towering plumes of black smoke. Finally, he notices you and smiles, shaking off his stupor.
It's a pity I wasn't there at the Grey Garrison to witness your feats of strength with my own eyes. The flash, however, could be seen miles and miles away. Some people were frightened of it, thinking that the demons had blown up the remains of the keep. I, for one, knew immediately that it was a good sign. The light above the city showed us that there was still hope.
Jesus! How aggressive is this response? Who are you, and how could you possibly be of use to my army?
My name is Sozio Vanek. I am a cleric of Shaylin,
Oh, a cleric.
the Eternal Rose and the Goddess of Beauty. Yes, I know that many people would consider me useless in a war. This is not a usual war, though. Just consider our enemy. The Abyss and his demons are the very embodiment of everything evil and ugly in the world. Perhaps a disciple of kindness and beauty might come in handy. I have no doubt that we will win this war, Commander. We just have to. It is our destiny. My role is to help you, and all those standing by your side in this struggle, to survive and flourish. Everyone deserves the chance to find peace and happiness in the world that they are defending so selflessly.
What you painting, boy? The cleric's eyes linger mournfully on the canvas. The unfinished painting depicts a temple crowned with a rainbow-tailed bird, the symbol of Shaylin. 5 people dressed in robes stand before the temple. Men and women, young and old. They all gaze back at you with radiant happiness and joy in their serene eyes.
My brothers and sisters in faith. They sent me for help, and then they saved my life, Commander. If the Prioress hadn't ordered me to escape the city and seek help, I would have died right along with them. Instead,
That sucks.
I met Queen Galfrey on her way to Nerosia, and hurriedly returned to Canabras, only to find my friends dead on the steps of our desecrated temple.
Every companion has... Why can't I just have a single companion who doesn't have to Actually, no. Nenyo. She's just a weird person who likes to learn things.
I want to draw them the way they live on in my memory. Wise, beautiful, and loyal to their goddess and their city to the very end.
Sosiel touches the edge of the canvas gently, as if patting a friend's shoulder in consolation. This is why you have to treasure every moment you spend with the ones you love. Today you're together, but who knows what tomorrow may bring.
You're right. I took their company for granted and never even imagined that they might just disappear in the blink of an eye. So many words left unspoken.
Sosiel sighs heavily.
Now it's my duty to make sure my friends and tutors did not die in vain. I will honor their sacrifice by making this world a bit more beautiful and kind.
What made an artist enlist in the army?
Perhaps I am a true artist, or simply an amateur who defaces canvases in my spare time. My goddess is a patron of art, so painting is part of my prayer, and I put all my heart into my pieces. But I am a cleric above all else, so I must also tend to others. I went to war because here's where I'm most needed. Sure, I could be painting idyllic landscapes and offering empty prayers to my goddess, but that won't stop people from dying. My goddess has no tolerance for false piety.
Okay, I mean, that's fair, honestly. You wanted to discuss something with me, right?
Yes, I have a personal request. Before we undertake our journey and leave Canabras behind, I would like to visit Martyr Zacharias' cemetery for a funeral. It's not far from here, and it's important. I would like to pay my respects to my friends from the Temple of Shaylin who died defending the city. Also, if it's not too much trouble, I would like you to come with me to honor their memory. Their friends and family will be at the funeral, and perhaps the commander's personal presence will bring them comfort.
A quest.
I know that you are burdened by many cares right now, so I understand if you can't find the time. But if you could, I would be sincerely grateful.
It's nice meeting you. Gotta go.
You must be rather busy indeed. Leading a crusade all by yourself is no joke. I still believe that you are up to the task. This war has been raging for 100 years, but you've given us a chance at victory.
I just want to make sure there's no other quests I'm missing. I'm pretty certain I bought that. I did. Oh, life, you are cruel. It's a cruel, cruel summer. Now you're gone. Hi, Dayran. So, how do you like your new role, advisor? Dayran winces. You also enjoy poking me with that stick, don't you? Imagine it, me, a crusader. If my dearest cousin hoped to teach me a lesson, she managed it perfectly. An assignment I couldn't avoid without losing face. This idiotic journey leading straight into the demon's maws. I could have been on a pleasure boat right now with the loveliest songstress and patax on my arm, and a bottle of the finest Kyonin wine to keep us company. Incidentally, I blame you for all of this. Darren lets out a sigh. Well, actually I think Cousin Galfrey is to blame for everything that's happened to me. And I suppose some of my misdeeds could be considered my own fault. But I can hardly be expected to take responsibility, can I? Certainly not. Therefore, I shall lay all the blame at your door, and plot my revenge. He gives you an innocent smile. Did you also receive a fraction of that unusual power? Looks like it. I genuinely hoped that getting away from you would be the end of it. If your gift truly did come from Ioname, then giving me a smidgen of that power was a very subtle joke on her part. I have no idea what our divine Lightbringer of Mendev even has a sense of humor. Don't get me started on my many acts of sacrilege against her. That obscene engraving, the truth about the tests of the Starstone, is the tamest one by far.
March on.
Oh, hi, Forn Autumn Haze. You weren't here before. Also, wasn't this loop before. Glad I'm re-exploring. Should've just gone straight to the Queen's tent, apparently. The elf before you casually rests his bandaged arm on the weapon at his side. He bows his head with dignity. I congratulate you on your new rank, Commander. My hunt demanded that I travel with your army. Naturally, I wouldn't burden your forces with the need to care for an outsider. I have provided myself with all necessities. Okay. He didn't have anything new to say. Nothing for you. Okay, sweet. No more quests in there.
Onwards.
Sela.
Hello. So, what do you reckon about everything that's come crashing down on us? All the responsibility, command, this new power?
Sela looks anxious. She's honing her sword, but her movements seem nervous. The girl doesn't even notice you at first, but when she does, she smiles cheerlessly and stops what she's doing. It's a little overwhelming, to be honest.
Don't be sad. Look at me. I'm sitting here worrying over my troubles, but you have it much worse than all of us put together. I'm still frightened by what happened in the Grey Garrison. Were we really chosen? By Iomade herself? You know, back when I was a snot-nosed kid who just started down the path to becoming a paladin, I imagined once or twice that I was going to do something heroic. The lights would shine down on me, the trumpets would sing, I'd hear the voice of the goddess, or at least her herald, you know? I'd be informed that I had been chosen for a great cause.
My dreams as a kid were that I would find a genie and I could wish for all the powers of Dragon Ball Z characters. That was my biggest wish.
Somehow, it really
Still
happened.
attractive.
Without all the trumpets or the herald or even anyone explaining what I had to do. Though it's clear as day, my place is here, in this demon-ridden wound. Quite a lovely war going on, in fact. Endless, I hear. I'm gonna need some time to wrap my head around this. Spare me an hour and I'll crawl into some dark corner and whine about my hard lot. What can I tell you?
Man, the voice actors in this game are fantastic. Oh my gosh. Okay, nothing there. Hi, Lon. What do you think of what happened to the Great Garrison? Did you feel a change in yourself? It's hard not to notice when the demons start running away from you like a flock of frightened bats. Powers granted by Iotame to defeat demons. Lon raises his hand above his head and pensively scratches behind his single horn. Since I was a kid, I've taken whatever I've been given and used it best I can. Anything goes when you're trying to survive. But it doesn't matter where your blessings come from. We can think about that when we're old, if we live that long. But you know, this time even I'm not so sure. A divine power just appears out of nowhere. Sooner or later we'll have to pay for it. I'd like to know what the price will be. Oh, ray of sunshine there. Horse! Nenyo! Boy, am I pleased to be with you. I asked you to bring me to the safety, and that's exactly what you did. Indeed, having a follower to aid me is most efficient and, frankly, pleasing. With you on hand, I shall conquer new horizons, plumb the depths of knowledge hitherto unknown, and scale the dizzying heights of future discoveries. Nenyo stops to catch her breath. What I mean is, I like to express my deepest gratitude. I foresee immense potential in our future cooperation. Happy to help. Hand in hand, we'll unravel the greatest mysteries inaccessible to the minds of ordinary people. Just imagine it. I, leading the way, proudly staring into the faces of the gods themselves, and you, my loyal follower, walking behind me every step of the way, writing down my deepest thoughts and admiring the profundity of my intellect. If we hold hands, you won't be able to go in front of me and lead the way. You are the catalyst which, when it reacts with my intellect, will allow the latter to grasp the very essence of the universe itself. You always express your delight so effusively. What? Who are you? Nenyo stares at you for a while, bewilderment in her eyes, but then it is replaced by recognition. Oh, yes, my new follower. So what am I supposed to do? Oh yes, I must provide some verbal encouragement for your as-yet modest achievements and try to introduce you to strive for more such encouragement. That is the principle that underpins my training. She frowns, but only for an instant. Ah, I see. Your modest nature was unsettled by my overabundance of my gratitude. I do apologize for putting you in such an awkward position. I will never praise you again, unless I forget. But let's get back to the business at hand. Your new assignment will be to take me to the inconspicuous ruins that are located in an even more inconspicuous valley lying beyond Canabras and Dresden. As soon as it is reasonably practicable, I'll mark the place on your map with a large red cross so you won't forget. What's so special about these ruins? I'm glad you asked. This is my greatest hypothesis, my secret project, and I won't pass up the opportunity to share it with you because you are my most loyal follower and you are worthy of possessing such knowledge. Nenyo rubs her nose, and also because you're the first person to ever ask me about it. Some time ago, I was walking around the border of the Whirlwind, and I met a strange person. He was wearing a frayed gray robe, and his face was hidden behind an odd white mask. Of course, I didn't miss the opportunity to ask him about the reasons for his absurd appearance, and you know what he said to me? He said, I am the answer, but what is the question? Then he walked off into the direction of the Whirlwind. The next day, after I had already forgotten about the first encounter, I had another similar encounter. This time I met an elven woman, judging by the pointy ears sticking out from behind the mask. I am the answer, but what is the question? She asked before taking off toward the Whirlwind. And then I realized, everything became clear to me. I know a mystery when I see one. Consider this one of my myriad talents. Nenyo rubs the tip of her nose. After all these geysers weren't simply on their way to a costume party, were they? After examining several maps, I determined that they were all headed in one direction, to a place not far from Canabras, a place which is marked as nameless ruins, even on ancient Sarkorian maps. That's where I need to go. Unraveling the secrets of that place will be my greatest discovery. I will secure my place in history, or perhaps even legend. How do you know where we have to go? Do you know how to find a beehive in a forest? You need to catch 2 bees, set them free in 2 different locations of the forest, and remember the directions they fly in. Then you take a map and draw lines showing the bees' routes. The place where the lines intersect will mark the location of the beehive. Fascinating, yes? By the way, forest bees do not make any honey. Nenyo sighs. I used the beehive principle here too. For a couple of months, I tracked the strange people in masks and observed their direction in which they were traveling. I collected the coordinates, mapped the estimate routes, and made a discovery. All the routes intersected at the nameless rooms not far from Canabras. What do you expect to find there? I haven't the slightest idea. If I knew what was hidden there, I wouldn't be so eager to go. These ruins aren't very far from Canabras. You could easily get there all by yourself. Why do you need me? The news eye seems ready to pop out of their sockets in surprise. Do you see? This is a legendary secret place. Who knows what may happen to me after I lift the veil and uncover the workings of the universe? My mortal body may be unable to contain all that knowledge, or perhaps I will ascend to become equal to the gods themselves. I need you to write down everything that happens and report my fate to the interested parties in Absalom, and don't forget to praise me as I deserve while you're there. You know these ruins of yours may just turn out to be, ruins? Benio shrugs. In that case, we'll write this experiment off as a failure and start another one. I don't know which experiment I'll try next. Well, now you know. So off we go. Benio frowns. Did I just make a rhyme? Perhaps I've discovered poetic talent in myself. Let's conduct an experiment. Quickly, say a word, and I'll try to find a rhyme for it right away. Iotame says, Discari, go away. If you play, you need to pay. Every shade of color, gray. Not the best rhymes, don't you think? Well, this experiment was unsuccessful. We learned that I have no poetic talent at all. Benio sighs. But it's no reason to despair. Having a gift of poetry in addition to my inexhaustible intelligence would have been a little too much. Besides, I am catastrophically busy and have no time to spend on writing poetry. I already went through all her dialogue. Why is it resetting to black? Okay. I don't know why it all went to black text like it did with Woljif. I've definitely talked to her. Horse. Hi, Ember. Ember is bobbing her head and humming a tune. She greets you with a carefree, cheerful smile. Her wandering eyes linger on you for just a moment before darting off again into the distance. How are you handling your new abilities? Abilities? The girl tilts her head to her shoulder. What are you talking about? Oh, the tricks you learned when the big gray house blew up. They're funny. Thanks for teaching them to me. The queen gave me the title of Knight Commander and put me in charge of an army. What do you think about that? The elf focuses her wandering gaze on your eyes, smiles, and shakes her head. Don't believe titles. All of us in the world are children of the street, barefoot, hungry, and scared, a step away from death. Some imagine they're strong and rich, like gods. But don't forget who you really are behind the title. So go! Miss Irabeth, I found your scabbard. Commander, allow me to say something. Irabeth looks more serious than usual. Before you... This wasn't a war. It was agony, drawn out over decades. No one believed in victory anymore. When the demons attacked the city, for some it was a relief. At least the end had come. They laid down their weapons and surrendered without a fight. I felt the same thing, but I somehow got through on stubbornness and vague hope that if nobody found Anevia's body, she might by some miracle have survived. And that miracle was you. You returned my beloved to me, when I nearly lost all hope of seeing her alive. Then you went on a suicide mission to the Grey Garrison and won the city back for us. You turned defeat into a victory. I know it wasn't easy, but you make everything seem so effortless. You do everything just like that, she says with a snap of her fingers. The Queen believes in your powers too, but for me, they're just more proof of what I felt the day when I saw Nevia alive, standing next to you. You're the miracle we've been waiting for. You're the one who will finally put an end to this terrible war, and in spite of everything, deliver us the victory we so desperately need. With you, I'm sure this crusade will achieve what the others could not. I found a scabbard with your family name on it in the Grey Garrison. Irabeth looks down. This scabbard held the solemn hour, my family sword. My father once fought with it, and I took it when I left home to become a paladin. Alas, it was not stolen. I parted with my heirloom willingly, to help someone dear to me. Anevia needed expensive healing, and I, having no other way to procure the money, I pawned my father's sword. I think he would have understood. I'm sure he would have given up everything to help the family. I hoped to redeem the solemn hour eventually, but there was never enough money, and soon the sword disappeared from the pawn shop altogether. I have no idea who took it. Seems like I'll have to part with my father's sword forever. Is Anivia sick? You'll forgive me if I don't go into detail. It's a private matter. Suffice to say, everything's fine now. The treatment was costly, but it was worth it. I can see you truly love her. A delicate blush appears on Erebeth's cheeks. She nods silently. Oh, I just love love! Erebeth lovingly traces the name imprinted in silver on the scabbard's letter. My parents were loyal servants, yet it wasn't enough to earn them a title or a coat of arms. Still, however humble our name might be, it's worth something. I don't know if I'll ever see Solemn Hour again, but at least I have its scabbard back. Thank you. So it turns out that the Queen has had her counterintelligence watching me. I wonder why. You think the Queen doesn't trust you? If that were true, she wouldn't put you in charge of this army. My main task is to be your advisor until you've gained enough experience as a commander. As for counterintelligence, Nevi and I were tasked with keeping an eye on your inner circle. But you're not under suspicion, Commander. You're under our protection. We need reinforcements. Can you get us more soldiers? Erebeth frowns. When we began the march on Dresden, we chose speed over numbers. If I order more volunteers to be recruited, I simply won't arrive in time. We could pay mages to deliver the troops to the camp, except I doubt our army's coffers could afford it. If you can spare even 1,000 gold coins, I will see to our reinforcements. Pay 7,500 coins. You have your orders. Oh, dear Lord. It's hard to believe your origin is so humble. You deserve a noble title more than many who inherit them. Erebeth's cheeks blush a little. Thank you, Commander. It's an honor to hear that, especially from you. Every noble family begins somewhere. You must have heard the recent story from the stolen lands in the River Kingdoms. Just imagine, coming from nowhere and making it all the way to a royal crown in just a few years. Sometimes I wonder what would happen if I managed to distinguish myself somehow, but then I push away some unworthy, selfish thoughts, of course. We don't fight for rewards. The fate of the world is at stake. And yet, Erebeth's blush deepens and she falls silent. Time to go! Where's that other new person? That, little... What was she, a gnome? Or... Yeah, I think she was a gnome. Alright, little Hawkblade. I don't remember his voice. Did he have a voice? Commander? 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 Commander! A tall man with piercing yellow-green eyes gives you a brief nod. Let me personally congratulate you on your new title and thank you for your time in advance. I am Litor Hawkblade, an Inquisitor of the Church of Iomade, the bringer of light. I require your assistance in a certain delicate matter involving one of your companions, young Count Darin Arende. What brings you here? I ask you to assist the Church of Iomade in an investigation of the utmost importance. I understand that the leader of the crusade has plenty of other matters to attend to, but please, allow me to tell you the details. Perhaps it will explain why I'm calling upon you. The Inquisitor's open face instantly reveals his feelings. He frowns and looks through you, lost in his thoughts for a moment. I suppose you have already heard about Count Arende's story. I refer to the tragedy at the Heaven Eagle's estate. What happened? About 10 years ago, several powerful demons managed to penetrate the Wardstone's barrier and commit mass murder on all the guests who attended the feast in celebration of young Darin's birthday. The unknown magical disease they had brought wiped out the whole estate in less than a day. That was not a unique case in itself. The demons had attempted such raids on Mendivian lands before, but they had never dared target such a well-protected place. The Arende family was exceptionally rich. The estate was protected by elite bodyguards. There were several strong and righteous paladins among the guests. Moreover, the revered Nestrin, Dayrin's tutor, was one of the most powerful priests of Iomade in the vicinity. All of them died, nonetheless, except the young count, who had suddenly manifested his outstanding sacred healing powers. Was that a divine miracle or a curse? That remains to be seen. You're going to investigate this old case again, aren't you? Yes, I am. I have several reasons to doubt the widely shared account of what exactly happened at the estate and how it happened. You see, Commander, I was among those sent to examine the estate after the incident. I saw everything with my own eyes, and I still remember it clearly, even though it feels like it happened a lifetime ago. Heaven's Edge was a unique place that still carried the spirit of old Mendev before the World Wound. And yet, on that day, it turned into a labyrinthine house of horrors, like something only seen in our nightmares. Apologies for the discretion, I just wanted to tell you about my suspicions. Everything about the incident seemed odd. Why was the only person left alive a young boy with a newfound talent for divine magic? Why did nobody send to Canabras for help, even though the agony spanned many hours? We found the demons dead with their heads cut off when we got into the state. How were they defeated? How did the disease kill even the paladins present at the estate, who are said to be immune to any disease? If the demons had found a way to penetrate the Holy Warrior's defenses, why has this never been repeated since the tragedy at Heaven's Edge? You're the only person who can help me here, Commander, because the only living witness of those events is currently serving in your army. Your army's route will take you near the very site of the tragedy. Heaven's Edge has been abandoned and sealed with potent magic throughout all these years, and only the Count has the power to break the seal. He is unlikely to invite an Inquisitor inside, and in any case, he won't like me sniffing around his family seat. But if you, as his commander, express your wish to visit the estate, he'll be obliged to fulfill it, and I will simply follow you as one of your attendants. There are 100 ways, 1,000 paths, and a myriad loopholes in human lives that the forces of evil can use to their advantage. I am not sure which one of those led the demons to the gates of Heaven's Edge, but I do know it wasn't a simple raid, the kind Crusaders face every day. That incident involved a significantly more powerful entity, and that is why I'm asking for your help. We cannot be sure that such a tragedy will not happen again until we uncover the truth. You've been to the estate several times. What can you expect to find now? I was a young and inexperienced Inquisitor when I visited Heaven's Edge 10 years ago. My skills have improved significantly since then, and I have paid dearly for that. Leader makes a vague gesture, pointing at his scars. My arsenal includes many spells and techniques dedicated to gathering information about people and events. Almost all of them require me to be physically present in the place where the event in question happened. That is why I must return to Heaven's Edge. Why can't you just search the estate yourself? Why, without involving me? The estate is abandoned and sealed with powerful containment enchantments that only the Count himself can lift. This is not the main reason, however. The main reason is that Count Arende is not officially under investigation by the Inquisition, so I couldn't just break into his house even if I found a way to bypass the spells. This is a serious matter. Leader frowns. A matter that threatens the reputation of the entire Church of Iomade and my own organization in particular. We made more than enough unforgivable mistakes during the Third Crusade and are still dealing with their consequences. Your presence will give my investigation the necessary legitimacy, Commander. But there is more. In addition to getting official permission, I'd also like to bring in an independent third-party investigator to the case. Someone independent but well-respected, and you fit this role perfectly. Did you question Dayrin himself? I did, but the Count insisted he couldn't remember anything about the incident due to severe shock. He saw the demons at the very beginning, and when they appeared at the celebration to announce the onset of the plague and mock their victims. He also witnessed the death of his mother, Countess Selena. That was all he could tell me. Leader pauses. We had found the young Count sleeping like a log on the floor in one of the rear chambers, having drunk about half the family wine cellar all by himself. There is no reason to disbelieve him on the matter. So you expect Dayrin is hiding something that he is to blame for the tragedy? I deliberately refuse to entertain any theories or suspicions so that it doesn't affect the investigation. There's a saying among my colleagues that suspicion is the mother of prejudice. I've already forgotten the name of that asshole in Canabras, Holden, or something. But yeah, he was literally a being of suspicion. And prejudice is married to failure. I can only tell you that the Count Arende wasn't suffering from demonic possession, the most common malaise in our country at the time. Oh, Holrun, that's what his name. Prelate Holrun himself examined the boy right after the tragedy, and he didn't sense anything awry in him. Yeah, I'll help you, man. Leader bows his head to you with exceptional reverence. Thank you, Commander. Now, I ask you to speak to the Count and tell him that you wish to see at Heaven's Edge. Please do not inform him of my presence right away. I will join your escort when it is time to travel to the estate. When we get there, I will also require your help during the investigation. You will have to follow me, observing my actions as an independent witness. If you have any other questions, please feel free to ask me. I will remain here for a while. Tell me more about yourself, Inquisitor. I want to know who I'm dealing with. I am Ulfin by birth, but I have lived in Mendev for most of my life, dedicating myself to the service of the Inheritor. My warrior brethren mostly worship Gorum, but I have never been eager to fight for the sake of battle alone. I was a good fighter in my early youth and could easily best most of my peers, but I didn't enjoy showing off my skills. Victory is bland on its own. Purpose adds flavor to war. I can't say that I've always been a faithful sword of Iomade. Back in my mercenary days, fate brought me to the borders of Mendev, where I spent quite a lot of time among the Crusaders, fighting shoulder to shoulder with my righteous comrades in arms, and watching demons commit their atrocities eventually led me to something I had been seeking my whole life. Purpose and faith. That is how I found my calling. Even though it may be hard at times, I never regretted my decision. I'm going to save before I talk about Holrun, because I killed him. Are one of Holrun's followers? Leo's face freezes for a moment, but he nods. Yes. Of course. What are your opinions on his atrocities? Lidor is silent for a while. Usually people reveal such things about themselves only to their confessor, not to some curious stranger. Still, I did ask for your help, and that imposes certain obligations upon me. Let me put it like this. I spent enough years by Prelate Holrun's side to learn how to keep him from going over the line. He was an extraordinary man, the vengeful sword of our goddess in human form. He was fighting in the vanguard, fearlessly taking down demons, exposing the cultist plots all by himself. He had served the Inquisition twice as long as I have, and eventually his own paranoia and monumental sense of responsibility eroded his mind. May Iomade guard his soul.